bond created between Stephen and myself. And what I didn't know when I walked in that door was that his son had paid the ultimate sacrifice in Afghanistan. And that day, he gave me this pin, remembering Nick. I keep it in my car every single day, and I brought it out tonight. The stories that this gentleman is going to tell you are truly amazing. He's met both President Obama and President Trump. This is a true American hero, a Gold Star dad, and it's my privilege to introduce you tonight to my friend, Stephen Xiarhos. Steve!
That's wonderful. I would not be here if it wasn't for you, Jim Lyons. You helped me get to this position as state representative. But tonight, to stand with all these veterans and all you good patriots, my story is a hard story to tell. So I'm going to do the best I can. When you get the most horrible news that any family could ever hear, it's hard to see.
I'm trying to get the mic.
Or ever imagine, and 2 days later, you see your beautiful son come home, carried by 6 of his brother Marines in an American flag draped coffin. You know firsthand how symbolic our American flag is and the true price paid for freedom. So young man, when you sang the national anthem, I'll never forget that. That was beautiful. It means a lot to me. Thank you. I stood on the tarmac at Dover Air Force Base with my knees trembling and my heart broken. Nick's mom, Lisa, and his young siblings, Alex, Elizabeth, and Ashlyn, stood as strong as they could, but all I could hear was them crying. 2nd Battalion, 8th Marine Regiment, Saw Gunner, United States Marine Corporal Nicholas G. Xiarhos deserved to live so much longer than his 21 years. I kept thinking of his very last words to us. He said, "Don't worry about me, Mom. I'm living the dream." Oh, good. As a state representative, which I will never let you down, I am a proud Republican, I'm a patriot, and people better watch out for people like us. Amen. I get asked to talk to a lot of large groups, just like the others that spoke to you earlier, about all sorts of things. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's tough. But there is one topic that stands out because it's impossible to talk about it credibly and to fully address all the emotions and significance covered with it. The topic is the terrorist attacks on September 11th, 2001, and the lives lost defending our freedom. Today, I'm here speaking to you as a Gold Star father. So I wear this pin, like a few others that are here. They call this the parent's Purple Heart. Nobody wants to have this pin. So there are Gold Star families here today, their wives. I met another gentleman, his brother was killed in Vietnam. So we are Gold Star families. I speak for all of us. It's not really about politics tonight for me. It's about family, faith, our flag, and freedom. The attack on September 11th changed us forever. It defined an entire generation. I remember the moment that I was with Nicholas. He was 13. And we were at a supermarket. And he said, "Dad, I'm going to fight for my country." And my heart felt proud, but also afraid. You probably felt the same way, all your parents and family. He was 13, and like many Americans, the attack on September 11th changed our lives. So I can remember saying to him, "That sounds great, Nick, and I'm proud of you. Can you be the Marine that stands in the dress blues and guards the president or the embassies?" And he said, "No, Dad, I'm going to fight for our freedom." He was 13. And at age 17, he followed his dream. A recruiter came to our home, and he asked us to sign the papers because Nicholas was too young. The recruiter didn't go to him, he went to the recruiter. And now that recruiter was in our home. And I had the pen in my hand, and it was shaking. We were at war, and my son wanted to be a Marine. And I looked at my wife, and she said, we sign it, we support him. And I did. And he went on to graduate high school. 9 days later, he went off to Paris Island. We received letters. There's no phone calls, there's no texting, it's just old-fashioned letters. And you couldn't wait to get one, and then write one back. And I'll never forget the day, September 22nd, 2006. He graduated high school 2006. September 22nd, 2006. Nick earned the title of United States Marine. I'll never forget that. Cannons blasting and swords waving. It's an American thing that I hope everyone gets a chance to see. Sadly, several years later, July 23rd, 2009, my son lost his life while going to the rescue of his brother Marines in 130-degree weather in southern Afghanistan, defending our nation in the war on terror. And let me tell you what that's like a little bit. I got a phone call to come to the police station. I've been a police officer for 40 years. So when you mention policing, military, that's my life. And I was a lieutenant commanding officer at the time, and I got a phone call on my cell phone, "Where are you, X?" And I said, "I'm with my sisters." And they said, "We need you to come to the station." And I said, "What's wrong?" And they said, "We'll tell you when you get here." And my heart stopped. So I prayed that he was only hurt. And I knew when I got to the police station, if I saw Marine Corps vehicles or the chief's vehicles, because it was nighttime, that was bad. But when I pulled in, I saw nothing. I found out later they hid everything. So when I got to the door of the police station, my friend had his head down, and he said, "X, they need to see you upstairs." And I had to climb those stairs, and my legs felt like cement. But I pushed forward, and I walked into that room, and I saw the Marines, and they gave me the news. And some horrible sound came out of my body, and I passed out. But my brothers in blue, the police officers that should never be defunded, never be disrespected, they physically picked me up. And they put me in a police car. They called a chaplain, an ambulance, and we drove to my house. And we got into the driveway. It's a long driveway. And they all got out. An ambulance, a chaplain, police officers, and firefighters. And they started to walk up the driveway. And I said, "No, you wait here. It's my job to tell my family." And I had to walk up some stairs, and my legs felt like cement. And when I got to that front door, it's just a glass, all big glass door, and I looked in, and there was my wife in the kitchen, my son Alex and his buddies playing computer games, my twin daughters, watching them. Alex was 19, my twins were 15. And I stopped, and I took that moment in, because I knew I would never see that again. And then I opened that door, and I walked in, and my kids yelled, "Dad!" And I couldn't talk. And my wife said, "What's wrong, Steve?" And all I could say is, "I'm sorry, it's Nick." And then, thank you. And then chaos. And the chaplain came running. And the EMTs kept running because everybody went down. So I say that because I want you to know what it's like to honor the memory of a fallen son, to fight for our freedom, like these men and women did. Every one of them are brave. They volunteered to fight for our great nation. They did their job bravely, courageously, and never left anyone behind.
Hey, got that
So think about all the first responders, the police, the fire, the EMS, who lost their lives on September 11th, or in the years after because of cancer from Ground Zero. Think of all the healthcare workers, doctors, and nurses whose service and sacrifice that day made us so proud to be an American. And as we pause to remember September 11th, tomorrow, I ask you to keep those people all close in your mind and your hearts. My son and the sons and daughters of many others worked hard for our freedom in Iraq and Afghanistan for the last 20 years. That war we did not lose. We never lost a battle. The blame is on the suits in Washington, not the boots on the ground.
There you go.
Amen.
And this man right here, Francisco, was there for me when it happened. He's never left my side. You've heard him speak. He should be an elected official. We need people like that.
Yes, sir.
And like a good Marine, he mentioned the 13 fallen. I have their names too. I was going to do that. But I want you to also remember one of those 13, as you mentioned, is a daughter of Massachusetts.
Yep.
Okay, she's coming home tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Imagine that, how ironic
Yeah.
on the 20-year anniversary. And I can tell you, when you get out there and you stand, you know, it really makes the families feel like they're not alone. It's very important. Amen. I want you to also know over 300 sons and daughters of Massachusetts have died in the last 20 years fighting for our country. And it's important to know they did their jobs proudly. They did their jobs bravely, for love of country, for love of mission,
Right.
and for each other. They are heroes, every single one. Their service was meaningful, powerful, and important. They fought to prevent terror from returning to our shores, and it hasn't, and it won't, because people like this will always stand up for our freedom. Thank God.
Amen.
They never let us down. They never, ever gave up. They answered their nation's call. They stood tall, and they said, "Here I am. Send me." We have 350 million Americans. Less than 1 million serve. So it's on our shoulders, and we'll do it.
Yes.
And I appreciate everybody standing here with me because it's not easy, and it's good to be with you. And as I close, remember September 11th. Remember how we got together as a nation. Let's do that again.
Yes.
Yes.
Let's show others what we do. We are Americans. That importance of that day cannot be lost to history. Teach children, teach your grandchildren. Don't let some school systems change history. Don't let them do it. I promise you I won't. And everybody that's a Republican in this state has your backs. I promise you that.
Amen.
Citizen soldiers.
And lastly, let us all remember the strongest weapon ever developed in the world is a patriotic American. Greater love has no one than this, than to lay down one's life for one's friends,